Hello and welcome to my channel Boomzibi Beauty. If you are new here, my name is Juliana, and if you are a returning subscriber, welcome back. Thank you for tuning to this video. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of my videos. I would love to have you on this platform. So in today's video, I'm going to be using this palette, as you can see on my eyes, the Still Pretty palette from September Rose Cosmetics. September Rose Cosmetics is based in UK here, and they've just come out with this palette, and this palette is dedicated to the brand owner's mom, who has been ill but is getting better now. During the demo of this palette, I talked a little bit about my dad, you know, just reminiscing the days while I was growing up and, you know, his impact in my life. It's fitting for me to dedicate a Valentine's Day look to him because he was my first love. He was the most important man in my life growing up, knowing him and being brought up by him. Yeah, it's just fitting really for me to dedicate this look to him. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video. So if you like to see how I created this look, then please keep on watching. Today I primed my eyes with Uoma Base 2 just because we're going to be working with pink shade. I mean, this is the inside of the palette, so some of it are pretty light. I don't know what the pigmentation is going to be like, so I'm just prepared for it. I also have no idea what I want to do because the palette is so beautiful. I love all the shades in the palette. I'm just going to quickly swatch the shimmers, hoping that this will give me some sort of inspiration. That looks like a duochrome. So those are all the shimmers in the palette. I'm really tempted to go for the red. I will always be tempted to go for the red. I think I'm more drawn to this shimmer and these two shimmers here, so we'll see what I can do with those shades. Alright, I think I'm going to start with this shade in my crease and just see how pigmented that is. I'm tempted to start with darker colors, but I'm going to give it a chance and start with the light. As mentioned in the intro of this video is dedicated to my dad. I was going to do it initially on a palette I created myself, but then this palette was released and the owner of this brand dedicated this palette to our mom. That's when I decided that I would dedicate this video to my dad as well, instead of using my originally created palette video. I don't know, somehow it just seems fitting really, that our mom recovered from her illness and then she dedicated this video to her. And also because the shades in this palette are the kind of shades that my dad loved. Now if you ask me, red is my dad's favorite color, so like this kind of red. But if you ask my other siblings, they will all come with different colors. But as far as I'm concerned and the way I've seen him dressed over the years, red is his favorite color, so we're gonna go with that. Just intensifying this shade on my crease. It seems to have gone on superbly. I just hope all the darker shades can go on top of this shade without patchiness, but this is beautiful. Okay, that's the first shade laid down, and it seems to have blended beautifully, and it was also easy for me to layer it on top of each other. Yeah. So I'm going with the same shade. I'm going to apply that on my lower lid. I mean, I will darken the outer corner, but for now just laying this base shade. Alright, so just coating all of my lower lid in the same color. Alright, in the center of my lid, I'm gonna go with this red shade. So talking about my dad, I knew I wanted to be an accountant from the age of 9. And it might seem very young for anybody, but I just knew. And the reason being, my dad was an accountant. Watching my dad grow from a young age, he just had some qualities in him that were just so admirable. My dad is very honest and very dedicated, hardworking. He was brilliant. He was a brilliant man. He was a really brilliant man. I know anybody say anything about their dad, but his mind was just very sharp, very quick. He was really admirable. All through my youth, I never saw my dad have a sick day. Wow, that is beautiful. I have to say, really beautiful. That's a beautiful blend. So growing up watching him with all these qualities, I later grew up to know what they meant or what the name was. That was a man of integrity. If he says he was going to do anything, that's it. He was a man of his words. He was just strong, and all of these qualities I just assumed and thought, okay, maybe it comes with the profession, or you know, was particularly linked with that profession. So I knew I wanted to be an accountant because I wanted to be like him. For my inner corner, I'm going to go with this peach shade. think it's called Camellia. I'm just gonna put that right in my inner corner. Wow, that is pigmented. Look at that. That's matte showing up. That is beautiful. Just gonna put that red back a little bit in my inner corner, just so it's not overshadowed by the peach. Around my outer corner, I'm gonna go with the darkest pink in the palette. It's called Calla Lily. This one. So at a young age, I knew what budgeting means. I knew what watching your money means. I knew what accountability means. I mean, if my dad gave you £10, you need to come back to him and account how you spent that £10. He was just a very disciplined man. I mean, he never punished with his hands. He never kind of smacked us, you know, which was a common thing growing up. Well, I grew up in Nigeria, so they do smack children there. If you did something wrong here, you will be smacked. But my dad never smacked. He didn't even believe in it. He believed in the power of words, you know, advising you, talking to you, you know, asking you, you know, why did you do that kind of thing. But I am telling you, that was worse growing up. We preferred my mom to really beat us or smack us than my dad talking to us, because my dad made you reflect on things. Going back to the first pink I put on my crease, I'm going to use that to blend the edges of this darker pink. So I went to boarding school all of my 6 years in primary school. I don't know how many years it is in your country, but it's in Nigeria. Primary schooling is 6 years, and I went to the boarding school all of my 6 years. I'm also putting the pink on the outer corner, using it to blend the outer corner by pinching the brush. So in my second year, I think I came, well, 13 or 12 in my class, out of a class of, I want to say, at least over 40 in the class. So I came about 12 or something, as far as I can remember. And my dad came to pick us up during half term. So we're 2 in my own school. All of my other siblings went to different schools, but in my school there were 2 of us. So he came with the driver to pick us up, opened my result, my sister's result, and he never said anything. It was just a quiet drive back home. And when we got home, he never said anything. So I ate my lunch, I unpacked, I was playing. In fact, I thought it was forgotten. It was a done deal. Nothing was going to come out of it until the evening of that day. I remember my dad asking my cousin, one of my cousins, to write down all of the subjects I did for the term. Write it down on a board, because we had a board because we used to have like extra teaching every holiday. So every holidays that we have like 2 weeks free. Then after that 2 weeks, we'll have like a maths teacher, English teacher coming to coach us during the holidays, just so we don't spend all the holidays playing and forgetting school. So we had a blackboard, each one of us, you know, all the locations that we'll be having lessons. So he asked my cousin to write down my results. He wrote down all the subjects, and then he wrote down beside it the score in all of the subjects. So once my cousin finished writing all of the subjects I did and the scores, my dad now turned to me, and that's when he spoke to me for the first time from picking me up. And he asked me one question. He called out my name and he said, "What did I do to you? What did I do to you to deserve this result?" And then he said the second time, "What did I do to you that you couldn't forgive me and you thought I deserved for you to bring this home to me as a father?" He never touched me, he never smacked me, he never did anything. But those sentences, I cried like somebody had beaten the heck out of me. Because it did made me think, it made me reflected, and I asked myself the same question. What did your father ever do to you? Because there is nothing that we wanted that was a necessity that we never got as children. I mean, and to think of all of us being in boarding school at the same time, when he could have been using the money for boarding school to kind of enrich himself by the latest cars. I mean, it was a sacrifice. It was a sacrifice. It was a self-sacrifice to send all of us to boarding school, because boarding school wasn't cheap in those days. So to go to school, and that was all I was meant to do, to be in school and to learn. And I came home being 12. And the background to this story is that when I was in primary school, I was always first in my class. Always. Throughout my primary school, I was always first in every class I had ever been. So to go from that first and then come home with being 12th, yeah, that hurt my dad. And asking me that question, that was a turning point in my life. Okay, putting that picture on this side as well. So that was a turning point in my life, and that was the last time I kind of disappointed him as far as my result was concerned, because he never deserved it. My dad was loving. He put us first. He put us first in everything that he did. I mean, across all our boarding school, he would come and visit us beyond the visiting days. Visiting days were just like one Sundays in a month. But my dad, he befriended a lot of teachers in all our schools, so that if he comes to visit us outside of visiting days, you know, and they would just come and get us so that he can see us really before he moves on to the next place he was traveling to. He was just a joy. He was a loving father. He was everything, everything, honestly. He's the best human being I've ever met. The best human being, man, woman, whatever, just best. A philanthropist, honestly. He was a lot. My dad taught us the values of life. He treated us equally. The same way he treated the boys is the same way he treated the girls. All of us, he treated us equally. He gave us equal opportunities. He was just an amazing man. I remember when I was going to do my, we call it SSE in Nigeria. In UK, they call it GCSE. And one of the subjects I was doing was bookkeeping and accounts, because I was going to be an accountant, so I was in a business school. He would come at the weekend to come and coach myself and my friend. At least my school was over an hour to where we lived back in Nigeria, and he would come every weekend to coach myself and my friends. Just further darkening the outer edge. This is the darkest color really. I don't think I could go darker than this, but just building it up. And there are many values in life that I learned from him. Many values that I never learned anywhere else, but I learned from him. He was an upright man, an outstanding individual. I'm telling you, I mean, his loss is just unbearable, but every day seems to be helping. Every day, you know, it gets better every day. And this year, I just don't want to cry. I don't want to just spend, you know, all the time crying. I want to spend the time also appreciating him for who he was, just appreciating him for what he has left behind, you know, what he has taught us, what he has built in us, and just focus on that rather than being unhappy and spend it crying. I want to spend the year in praise of him, you know, and hope that that would help me, you know, another stage, you know, of the grieving, because it would forever be unbearable. I mean, the closeness to myself and my siblings, it's like none other. So his loss will forever be unbearable to us. This palette is amazing. Can you see that? I could easily leave it like this without even putting shimmers. I mean, the way they just blended on each other. The red blended on the pink. Oh, it's beautiful. Beautiful formula. Okay, it's time for the shimmers. As mentioned earlier, I'm going to go with this dark shade, this pink, and this one in the center. I don't know in what order or what I'm going to do. I might even change my mind, but right now I'm going to prime my eyes with a glitter primer, and I'll be right back. Okay, first going with the shade Poppy. I'm going to put that in my inner corner. So both on my upper lid and my lower lid. And then right on top of that pink, I'm going to put a little bit of this white, just to further brighten that pink. So almost like a frosty pink shade. Next, going in with my finger, I'm going into the shade called Sweet Pea. And it's a very, very beautiful purple like pink with sparkles inside. And it's so soft, pressed in the pan as well. Very beautiful shade. So I'm putting that in my outer corner. Look how beautiful that is. So that's going to serve as my darkening shade, since there isn't anything darker than this dark pink in the palette. I'm going to use it to darken my outer edge. And let's go into this center shimmer. I'm going to put that right next to that purple kind of shimmer. So that's definitely different to each other. So this one I'm putting is like bright fuchsia pink, and I'm taking it all the way over my lid. So laying it right on top of that frosty pink, I'm going to cover my entire lid, pulling across my crease. Now on this eyelid, I did mix a bit of red, which I said I wasn't going to do, but I just couldn't help myself. So I'm going to go with first this red, and I'll later go in with that, right in the middle where the two colors meet. Just ever so slightly, really, in the middle, to the point that you don't really notice it unless you look closely. And then going into the other red, which is called Aster, I'm going to put that on top again of the previous red I put. Now, was it necessary for me to put the red? No, but because I know I won't be satisfied unless I use the red shimmer, so that's why I did that, so you don't have to. Okay, finally going back to the first shimmery pink I took, I'm going to now pull that from the inner part of my eye and pull it across my crease, so the front part of my crease, like right here, just to kind of further brighten my eye. And then going back to that medium tone, I want to make sure that the frosty pink doesn't overshadow the medium tone pink. Yeah, and then just blending all of the shades together with my fingers. These shimmers are so soft and beautiful. In fact, none of the shade I've used today is being adored. They've performed beyond my expectation. Wow. And then the final thing to do with the matte is to take that darkest pink. I'm going to blend it again over the shimmer. Okay, that's it for the look. I'm going to apply my liners, my lashes, and I'll be right back. Alright guys, I'm back, and this is the finished look. And up close. So everything I used to complete this look will be in the description section. So it's time to swatch the palette. And these are the first 5 shades. That is a matte. The first one was a shimmer. This third one is a shimmer as well. And this is a matte. And the one on my thumb, it's a matte. Okay, this is the middle row. Next one is a matte, a shimmer, another shimmer, which is the one on majority of my lid, and this is a matte. And that is the first 2 rows of the palette, 10 shades. Now for the final row. So those are the swatches of the final row. The last row is just so beautiful, yummy and pigmented. That is a beautiful shimmer. And then a red matte. Oh, wow. Another matte fuchsia, beautiful pink. Oh my days. And then a shimmer, which is in my outer corner. Oh, that is beautiful. And then finally the last shade. I never got a chance to use this one. It will be interesting to see what that swatch is like. I have to do that upside down. Oh my days. Wow. That is pigmented. So these are all the swatches of the shade in the Still Pretty palette. The shades are absolutely gorgeous. You saw me apply them on my eyes. They just applied well. They blended well. No patchiness. Even the darker shade went on top of the lighter shade. This palette is definitely beautiful, pigmented, beautiful, blendable, absolutely everything. I have no cause for complaint as far as the formula is concerned. The only thing that kind of like I noticed from the minute I opened the palette is the smell. So it smells a lot like paint or some sort of chemical. Yeah, that's the only downside I would say of the palette. So that is the one downside I can say. But as for the shades and the performance, oh my days, no complaints, nothing to point out, nothing to correct. Even the choice of the colors are absolutely beautiful. I mean, this is the lightest pink, but you've got this white to kind of brighten each and every shade. Absolutely yummy palette. This shimmer, oh my days, is so soft and buttery. Then this one, the same thing, but this one has got like an edge of crispiness to it. Still buttery, but edge of crispiness to it. And then this red one is almost like glitter, but not glitter, it looks like glitter, almost appears like glitter, but it's so soft that it can never be glitter. Honestly, every shade in this palette is absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy I bought this palette. I mean, the Slush palette was one of my regular everyday, because I use colors every day. Prior to the pandemic, I wear eye makeup every day and I wear colorful as can be. So Slush One palette was one of my favorites to use during the week. So I am not surprised of the performance of this palette. So that's the end of the demo of this look. Thank you for indulging me in talking about my dad. It's absolutely important to me that I leave his footprint or his steps in what I'm doing at the moment. This was part of my chance, you know, the 1-year anniversary of his death, to dedicate a video to him. I don't mean to upset anybody, but it was very important for me on my channel to dedicate this video to him. It is very hard. You know, I still miss him every day. It's very hard. I try not to think about it, and sometimes when looking at pictures, he gets me there. So I try to avoid all sort of thoughts and just push it to the back of my mind, which I know is not very healthy, which was partly why I just wanted to really dedicate a Valentine pinkish reddish kind of look to him and just talk about it, you know, in a remembering the good days kind of way, rather than giving in to how I'm feeling at the moment. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know, doing this video, you know, I'm talking a little bit about him. If I start to talk about him, I will be here for days. But those were the moments, those were the prominent things I can still remember, you know, about growing up, you know, about him, about who he was, about, you know, just the impact, his impact in my life. It will never be forgotten. It will never be forgotten, because everything I do, I see him in it. I remember everything I learned from him, either physically or from his actions, you know. He was my idol. He was my idol. He was the best person I ever knew, and it's just difficult sometimes, but at the same time, you know, I'm just finding every ways to cope, remember the good times, basically. So yeah, that's why I wanted to dedicate this video to him. Like I said, I apologize if this upsets anybody. That is not my intention. I just want to honor my dad in either way I see fit, and this was one of the ways. Okay guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope you've enjoyed hanging out with me. If you have enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, I'll see you.